20 years. How about 20 years in prison for vandalizing Teslas? Is that overkill? The tweet here from Health Ranger Mike Adams saying, although he despises these anti-Tesla terrorists as much as the rest of us, 20 years in prison for keying a Tesla vehicle is judicial overkill. Punishment should fit the crime. He's suggesting more like 30 days in jail and a $25,000 fine. Plus, they have to pay for the repair of the vehicle. That would send the desired message and still respect judicial discretion. Yeah, I don't know about the how many people have actually gotten 20 years. Certainly, they want to make some examples of some people as a lesson, as a warning to the rest, not to continue this ridiculous terrorism. They're going after their own people, which is odd. These people are just kind of unthinking drones. They're easily controlled, which is pretty dangerous. And they're just going straight to crime. Just like they see Teslas on site and they're ready to, go vandalize it. It's crazy. I'll agree with Mike here to some extent. Yeah, 20 years is way too much. There might be a couple examples where maybe it does fit the crime, but not for keying up the car. $25,000 is a lot of money, though. Maybe they got to find a balance. Maybe depending on how people can pay for it. Because $25,000, that might be a lot. Try to pay that all off. And over like how long of a time span? And, they don't need to necessarily go to some, federal institution. Go to a minimum security joint where they just have to serve out a punishment. Do a lot of volunteer work. I don't know. So, yeah, they got to find a healthy balance there. I would agree with that. I don't know what you guys think. Here's a tweet here from Brooks Agnew. Talking about they found this Karen keying a Tesla in Washington State. I think it's Washington State. She's been identified as 55-year-old millionaire Camelia Ensler. So let's check out this clip. Let's see how bad this is. And should she, Brooks is saying, yeah, she might go to prison, lose her money, lose her marriage, children, never have a passport again. Is the rage worth it? It depends on if it's, the felony level vandalism, and maybe that's going to vary by state. Here we go. I don't know if we have any volume. So, okay, there she is. Now all these Teslas are built in with cameras. Who knew? There she is, taking a big swipe, taking a little chunk of the paint out. Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. I don't know if that's 20 years there. But certainly she could afford the $25,000 fine. So she actually makes a point to stop. So here she is in her Toyota Highlander. And she decides, you know what, I'm so mad at this Tesla owner. Or is this Tesla? Somebody's got a Tesla. It's not like they just bought it and it's got, I love Elon written on it. I mean, they're not thinking, they're just reacting, which is a bit terrifying. But she actually makes a point to stop, get out of her vehicle, and, I'm just going to, take a swipe, take a chunk of paint out of their car. That'll teach them a lesson. Even though whoever owned that Tesla, I'll bet was... probably shares her political views. Who knows? Maybe they got NPR on their radio. And then some other Karen is going to swipe your car. So I don't know. I wouldn't call that a felony. But yeah, if she's a millionaire, why not just give her a big fine? Got to make an example out of some of them. All right, let's check another one out. This one is Tim Pool shared this one. And they still haven't gotten the memo that there's cameras all over these cars. All of these people are going to be caught.
By glances over at the car, and moments later, they return and quickly start keying the passenger.
Now, this one is a bad one. The other lady just took a little swipe, and this girl here is really going to town.
Door with a phone in the other hand.
You can tell in the
Oh,
videos
she's taking pictures. She's recording the criminal evidence here.
too. Like they're actively starting to record, and they're recording the whole thing. You can easily tell this is a targeted, like there's intent there, and they, kind of a mockery of it, right? With all the recording.
Seconds later, the vandal runs off. The owners, who asked to remain anonymous, notice the damage about a half hour later and say since then they have felt unsettled and somewhat fearful.
Really stupid. Now this guy, so they've just found out this big attack here in Las Vegas. They've made an arrest now as a 36-year-old named Paul Kim. This is arson charges and possession of an explosive device. Accused terrorist is believed to have pulled out a gun and shot the cars along with igniting Molotov cocktails. 5 vehicles were damaged in the incident, and Kim was booked on 15 counts. Now this one is definitely, this is one of the 20-year varieties, and there's nothing that can be done. I mean, you could have gotten people killed with this reckless act. I don't think there's any volume. Nope. That's a pretty ugly incident. That is domestic terror. So yeah, that one deserves 20 years. And what for? It's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of demonization of Elon from these leftist outlets. NPR, MSNBC. You should talk to any of them, man. They just hate Elon, man. And for what? They can't give you a reason why. But some of them they're misinformed because they're buying into the fear mongering. They're terrified that somehow, so he's cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, which is like, USAID, slush funds, maybe defunding NPR. There's a lot of places to cut back, or whether the Social Security system is being abused. So what do the Democrats respond with? Oh, they're going to go after your Social Security. Not true. Or they're going to go after your Medicaid. So people are freaking out about that, but there's no truth to that. So anyway, I mean, this is a Salon article. Yeah, look at this. Help keep Salon independent, written right at the top. They're not getting taxpayer money, and they don't deserve it. They're a far left publication, but I wouldn't support taxpayer funding for Breitbart either. So I don't know. They're expecting deep cuts to Medicaid. People relying on the program. They're freaking out. Now, the GOP has promised not to cut benefits, combined with their promise to find savings in the government, has led analysts to suspect that the party might be eyeing a change to federal funding for Medicaid expansion. This would allow Republicans to not directly cut Medicaid benefits, instead pushing the hard decisions on what benefits to cut to the states. But if you'll notice this last sentence here, now reporting in Axios in the New York Times has validated this theory. That's just what it is. It's a theory. It's fear-mongering that he's going to cut your Medicaid. They're going to take away your Social Security. No, they're worried they're not going to be able to fund Medicaid and Social Security because they're wasting so much money on all these stupid programs. If you don't tighten things up financially, there isn't going to be enough money for the ones we want. So they need to get that through their heads. There you go. Yeah, here's Frankie saying they're adults who knew better, lock them up. Yeah, they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to be punished. They're going to have to get that word out that you can't get away with these terror attacks, which is what it is. So I don't know. It'll be on a case-by-case basis, and I suppose maybe state by state, depending on their laws. So it's got to be severe, but it's going to depend on how bad it really was. And they're going to have to pay for all the damages for sure. It's not going to work out too well. Yeah, they should know better, but they're just not thinking. They're only reacting, which is wild. Don't know why that is.